Welcome to Young Patriots.
Breaking news in a stunning development that has sent shockwaves through diplomatic circles across Africa and beyond. U.S. President Donald Trump has once again sent delegates to Burkina Faso, this time led by U.S. Congressman Austin Scott, in a desperate bid to secure what Washington is now calling a win-win partnership. But here's the twist. This isn't the first, second, or even third attempt. This marks the fourth time this year the Trump administration has come knocking on Burkina Faso's door. And each time, they've been met with silence from the one man they came to see. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the defiant leader at the center of Africa's new era of sovereignty. Why is Washington so desperate? Why is Burkina Faso refusing to bend? And what does this mean for Africa's rising power on the global stage? Tonight, we break it all down. Friday morning, Ouagadougou's Thomas Sankara International Airport buzzed with unusual activity. A US government jet, sleek and imposing, touched down under heavy security. Out stepped Congressman Austin Scott, flanked by senior advisors and diplomatic staff, their mission crystal clear: convince Burkina Faso to accept Washington's offer of partnership. But behind the smiles and handshakes lay a story of failed diplomacy and growing desperation. This visit marked the third, possibly fourth time in just 12 months that Washington had dispatched envoys to plead for cooperation. Previous delegations, sometimes more than 6 officials at a time, had all returned empty-handed. And this time, the pattern seemed set to repeat itself. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the man Washington came to woo, once again declined to meet them. No photo ops, no warm receptions, no hurried press conferences announcing new deals. Instead, the US delegation met with Burkina Faso's foreign ministry officials. A diplomatic gesture, yes, but far from the engagement Washington had hoped for. For the fourth time, Traoré's silence thundered louder than any words could. Observers say this is no accident. Traoré, known for his blunt style and refusal to bow to external pressure, is sending a clear message. Burkina Faso will not be bullied or bribed into surrendering its sovereignty. But here's where the story takes an even stranger twist. Standing before reporters, Congressman Austin Scott heaped praise on Burkina Faso's achievements under Traoré's leadership. He spoke of the nation's rapid gains in security and agriculture, saying, and we quote, "I have never seen anything like this before in Africa." High praise indeed, especially coming from Washington. After all, it was only months ago that US military commander General Michael Langley accused Traoré of using Burkina Faso's gold and natural resources to enrich his regime. Back then, Washington painted Traoré as a power-hungry strongman. Today, they celebrate his success. Why the sudden change of tone? Analysts say it's simple. The US needs a deal badly. Earlier this year, Donald Trump himself tried to strike a grand bargain with the Sahel nations, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger. His offer? American military assistance to fight terrorism across the region, in exchange for full access to the region's vast natural resources: gold, uranium, lithium, and more. It was a bold proposal, but it failed miserably. None of the Sahel leaders accepted the deal. Not Traoré, not Mali's Assimi Goïta, not Niger's Abdourahmane Tiani. The message to Washington was unmistakable. Africa is no longer for sale. And so, Washington returned. This time with softer language. No longer was it about control. Now they called it a win-win partnership. A deal framed as mutual respect, cooperation, and shared benefits. But observers note, beneath the friendly branding, the core of the proposal remains the same: access to Africa's critical minerals, strategic footholds in a region where both Russia and China have already made inroads. A last-ditch effort to regain influence in a continent slipping from Western dominance. Why won't Captain Traoré meet them? Why the cold shoulder, even as Washington sends higher level envoys each time? Analysts point to several factors. First, Traoré has aligned Burkina Faso with Mali and Niger in the alliance of Sahel states, a regional bloc pushing back hard against Western interference. Second, Burkina Faso has strengthened ties with Russia for security assistance and Turkey for trade and infrastructure. Third, and perhaps most importantly, Traoré knows the stakes. Accepting Washington's deal could mean opening the door to the very kind of influence Burkina Faso fought to escape when it expelled French troops last year. This isn't just about Burkina Faso. Across Africa, nations are reassessing their relationships with former colonial powers and Western governments. France has been booted from Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. The US now faces growing skepticism across the continent. Meanwhile, Russia offers military support with no political lectures. China builds roads, railways, and hospitals, often in exchange for resources, yes, but without the conditions the West imposes. For Washington, the fear is clear. Lose the Sahel, lose Africa's future. Sources in Washington admit frustration is growing. Each failed visit makes the US look weaker on the global stage. Each cold shoulder from Traoré signals a shift in Africa's balance of power. One senior official, speaking anonymously, confessed, "We underestimated him. We thought eventually they would need us. Now it looks like we need them more." For a superpower accustomed to setting the rules, that's a bitter pill to swallow. Across Ouagadougou, Bamako, Niamey, and beyond, a new Africa is emerging. One that refuses to trade sovereignty for aid. One that rejects the old formulas of dependency. One that speaks with its own voice on the global stage. As one Burkinabe commentator put it, this is not the Africa of yesterday. This is the Africa that stands tall. Tonight, as Congressman Austin Scott and his delegation leave Ouagadougou empty-handed once again, the message echoes across continents. Africa has awakened. Donald Trump may call it a win-win partnership, but for Captain Ibrahim Traoré and millions across the Sahel, true partnership begins with respect, equality, and sovereignty. And until Washington understands that, its planes will keep landing in West Africa, only to return home with nothing. Africa is no longer for sale.
Thank you for standing with us, for standing with the truth, and for standing with President Ibrahim Traoré. In these trying times, your voice is powerful. Don't just watch, be part of the movement. Subscribe to stay updated, share to awaken others, and head to the comment section. Tell us how you feel, what you believe, and what Africa means to you. Together we are louder, together we are stronger. This is Young Patriots TV, and you are the heartbeat of the mission. Thank